Good morning, class. Please take your seats. I would like to welcome you all to Animanga 101. Today's topic will be an exciting one, so make sure to pay attention. Manga collecting is fun, and while it's an easier medium to get into than, say, American comic books, it can still be daunting for you first-timers out there. I myself happen to enjoy manga collecting, and thus have gained a vast amount of knowledge over the years that I'm prepared to share with you all. Manga collecting can be an expensive hobby, but there are many ways that you can skirt around those initial high costs and get into a series for reasonably cheap. If you're solely interested in just reading a series, I suggest you just read manga online. I myself have slowed down on collecting over the past few years because prices have increased, and also having a manga library requires a lot of space. I would personally recommend the Shonen Jump app or Manga Plus as a good starting point for digital manga, or just pirate. I do think that if you really want to read manga, it is way cheaper to do so online. But if you just have to read the physical volumes, you can go to the library and check out any series you're interested in for free. But that's not why you're here. You're probably one of those sick freaks who want to collect things. Look, I understand, you're talking to the guy who owns every volume of Food Wars. I'm just giving you alternatives so that you know that buying manga isn't the only way. One of the prides of my collection is owning every volume of One Piece. Let's say you also want to start collecting it. Each volume costs $11.99 and there are currently 111 volumes out. So multiply that 111 by $11.99 and you'll be spending $1,330.89 to be up to date. So, is there any cheaper way to collect One Piece apart from buying the volume secondhand? Of course there is. Better yet, there are actually two different ways. Solution 1. The manga box set. I have a love-hate relationship with manga box sets. On the one hand, I love them because compared to buying the volumes separately, you get a whole bunch of them in bulk for way cheaper. One Piece Box Set 1 contains volumes 1 through 23, which would normally cost around $275, but is being sold for $245. Economically speaking, manga box sets are always a better deal than buying individually. You can either spend over $195 on Tokyo Ghoul or spend $185 for the box set. Some box sets like Fairy Tail, Naruto, and Attack on Titan come with only a fraction of the volumes. So if you're buying a series that's still ongoing like One Piece, the release between these box sets can be a long time. One Piece Box Set 3 came out on October 4th, 2016, containing volumes 47 through 70. Box Set 4 didn't release until January 25th, 2022. Box Set 5 is taking a long time too, as it's expected to release on December 8th, 2026. So you either wait 5 years between releases, or you stick with buying the single volumes. I personally think the best box sets are the ones that contain the entirety of a series. Fullmetal Alchemist, Assassination Classroom, The Promised Neverland. I know we all love The Promised Neverland. I'm not the only one who rocked with the Imperial Capital Battle Arc, right? One of the aspects of manga box sets that get to me is that every time I buy a new series, I ask myself the question, should I buy the series now or wait to see if a box set releases? I bought the first few volumes of the original Dragon Ball manga in 2018 because I got tired of waiting to see if they would release a box set. You'll never guess what they released a year later. Another thing that gets to me is that I have some sort of problem that makes it so I want everything in pristine condition. Manga box sets on Amazon are way cheaper to buy compared to other places, but on more than a few occasions, I have seen box sets arrive in a horrible condition. I guess that's just the gamble of ordering things online, but I wouldn't feel so bad about buying it from a store if there wasn't this much of a price difference. Okay, what I'm going to complain about now is really dumb, but just hear me out on this one. When I get the box sets, do I put the box on a shelf and leave the manga inside, or do I take them out and display them? If I take them out, then what do I do with the box? I can't just throw it out, but sometimes I just really want to display the books without the box. Like some of these boxes just get in the way and are too big to fit on my shelf. Solution number 2, manga omnibuses. Sometimes the manga publishers decide to group a couple of volumes together and sell them as an omnibus. A One Piece omnibus costs $16.99 and contains 3 volumes. This slices the cost of buying the 3 volumes separately in half, making it a better deal. Omnibuses also release more frequently than box sets, so if you're buying an ongoing series, the wait for the next volume won't be as long. Shaman King, Naruto, Bleach, they all come in omnibus editions, so it's easy for anyone on a budget to get a lot of volumes for relatively cheap. There are some mangas that are only released in the US in an omnibus. Goodnight Poon Poon got its 13 volumes condensed into 7 omnibuses. Although I do wish we got both options to purchase instead of just one, I still really enjoy the omnibus edition. Now, of course, omnibuses have their own problems. Since more volumes are being condensed into one book, sometimes publishers will use thinner paper to save money and be able to fit everything in. The omnibuses that don't have this issue usually cost way more than buying the volume separately. That's because these versions of the manga are really nice collector pieces, such as the Vagabond Definitive Edition or the Berserk Deluxe Edition. I don't find the thinner paper that much of an issue, and I don't really mind paying more when it comes to these fancy omnibuses either. However, an issue I really can't get over is when they stop printing the original single volumes and only publish the omnibuses. The Yu-Gi-Oh manga is my all-time favorite childhood series. They used to be printed as single volumes, but they have since stopped doing that and now only release in omnibuses. I don't have any problem with them, but I would prefer to collect the single volumes since that's the version I grew up reading. Also, another weird thing I noticed is that sometimes when a publisher is halfway through a series, they decide to start releasing the remaining volumes in an omnibus format instead of single volumes. I've only noticed this happen with Yamada-kun and the Seven Witches, but if it's happened another time, please let me know. I am very interested in this. My best guess is that the series was probably tapering off in popularity, and instead of just canceling the rest of the volumes, Kodansha decided to release them as omnibuses. If it's between not having the rest of a series printed or having the rest of the volumes as an omnibus, I will always pick the latter. I just think it's a bit odd. Also, I thought that it would look weird on a shelf, suddenly shifting from a single book spine to an omnibus spine, but looking at pictures of the complete series, they put this fake line on the spine to make it look like two different volumes, instead of doing what other mangas do and having their spine be one uniform design. There's also gimmicky variants of manga omnibuses that aren't really practical for reading, like the Attack on Titan Colossal Edition, the Death Note All-in-One Edition, and the All-in-One Piece, the longest single volume book in the world priced at 1900 euros, and having 21,450 pages. But that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed your first lesson, and I'll see you